Hey everyone, welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So today is September 17th, is Constitution Day, and the League of Women Voters of the City of New York are bringing awareness to our constitutional right to vote. And throughout the years, the organization has been dedicated to empowering voters while also defending democracy. And joining us to tell us more about the significance of Constitution Day, we welcome League of Women Voters of the City of New York co-president and board director, Diane Burrows. Hello and welcome.
Hello, and thank you, Rhina, for having me.
Well, thank you for being here with us, and thank you for taking the time to educate our viewers and enroll everybody into really serving our community by using their voices.
Absolutely. It's so important to get involved and participate, because that's what really keeps us strong and keeps our voices strong.
Yeah, and I think people really need to understand that every voice counts and matters. And I think that's been challenged over the past year or 2 years, we'll say. And so now that we're now gearing towards voting month, rather election month again, in November, let's just talk a little bit about why this organization is being so proactive, specifically in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. We really want people to understand, as you just said, the power of their voice. And our organization, the League of Women Voters of the City of New York, we've been doing this actually for 102 years. So engaging voters, encouraging voters to get out and vote, encouraging people in communities to be civically engaged, even if people aren't eligible to vote, to be involved in their communities. Because when you use your voice, you have power. So in order to do that, we wanted to draw attention to the Constitution of the United States, and what better way on its birthday, and to really show people what the League has been saying for 102 years, that your voice matters, you can vote, you can participate, you can be civically engaged.
And so what exactly is the League of Women Voters of the City of New York doing to celebrate Constitution Day?
So what we are doing is we actually have selected 6 districts, 6 assembly districts in the city that have had traditionally very low voter turnout. And what we want to try to do is elevate this message in these communities, because so many folks feel disenfranchised and feel bitter and negative. And we thought that we would target basically 6 communities within Bronx, every place except Staten Island for now, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and really try to elevate this message by distributing free copies of the Constitution in Spanish and in English through libraries. And then also offering folks information about the upcoming election, not only who's on the ballot, but also the important propositions that are going to be on the ballot this time.
So how much time would you say would be invested in that exchange, right? Because here we're talking about the actual document, right? The Constitution, and then there's the information. I want to say, for the sake of educating our viewers, can we talk a little bit about the different legislative roles that are up for election right now?
Sure. So right now in New York City, we have the 3 citywide elected positions: the mayor, the comptroller, and the public advocate. And we have the borough elections that will include most people, city council member and borough presidents. So those are the elected officials that are going to be on the ballot this time around. And it's really important for everybody to remember that you're represented where you live. So your ballot in one district may look very different from your friend's ballot in another district because of the city council person, or if you're in a different borough. The citywide officials will be the same. And then we have these 5 important propositions, 2 of which we really are involved with because they involve voting.
Right. And so I'm just also just trying to open up the conversation to help our viewers understand that it's different levels, right? And so everybody always shows up for the presidential election, but then when it's the local elections, it's a little more scarce, right? And so it's important for us to just help them understand that, you know, your assembly member matters, your council member matters, all these different levels matter.
Right. And, you know, it's so interesting because you're right. People line up blocks and blocks long to vote in a presidential election. And really, when you think about it, the local election, your city council person, your borough president, these roles, the public advocate, really affect our lives daily, daily. And that your voice is much stronger when you reach out to your city council person, because remember, your city council person has to live in your neighborhood. So these elected officials really are people that we can impact on a local level. So state elections, national elections, really important, but these local ones are what affect us most personally.
So do you think that New York is trying to restrict access to voting?
I think we have to be vigilant. We have to constantly be vigilant. Because of the work of the League of Women Voters and a lot of other organizations, we have been very, very successful in opening the rights of voters. For example, we now have early voting, which is really important. So for 9 days before actual election day, you can go and vote at a polling site. We now have, or we will have, hopefully, if everybody votes yes on the one proposal about absentee voting, we will have totally no excuse absentee voting permanently. Ranked choice voting, we got that as a result of local work. So if we are vigilant here in New York State, and of course in New York City, we're doing a good job right now, but we can't lose sight of it.
So I had read somewhere that with regards to doing an absentee voting, if there's an error, rather than it being disregarded, you can actually have that error corrected. Can you explain that further?
Sure, that's actually a really important piece that that we were involved with. It's called curing your ballot. It actually does not have to do with the way you voted on your ballot. It has to do with the signature on the envelope. Remember, when you vote absentee, instead of signing the poll book like you would do if you were voting in person, you actually sign what's called the oath envelope. And a lot of people, unfortunately, didn't see the location on the back of the envelope where you had to sign. Now, we did get the change. The League of Women Voters was involved in that also, that on the most recent absentee ballot, it was actually bigger font and red font, so it helped people to notice that. But if for some reason somebody doesn't see that and they submit that without a signature, before it wouldn't count. And now the Board of Elections will contact the person to correct that error. So that's a big step.
That is a big step because, you know, one would think if you do something wrong, it automatically disqualifies the voice. And so that's really huge. And it's, thank you for the work that you ladies are doing. So before we go, I want to make sure that our viewers understand that you're going to be accessible to them in various libraries here in the Bronx. Can you just share the details of the events? Because I believe you're referring to them as home bases for event date.
Yes. So in the Bronx, we are going to be at the Bronx Library Center at 310 East Kingsbridge Road. And we're going to be at the Tremont Library at 1866 Washington Avenue. So we will be at those two. If you happen to be out and about, we're also going to be in Brooklyn at the Washington Irving Library, which is at 360 Irving Avenue. We're going to be in Manhattan at the library at 174 East 110th Street. And we're going to be in two locations in Queens. We're going to be at the Langston Hughes Library on Northern Boulevard, and we're going to be at the Jackson Heights Library at 3551 81st Street. So we're going to be out and about. You're going to see us. People are going to be wearing logoed shirts, and we will have these constitutions and information about all of this that's on the ballot.
That's wonderful. And so what are the hours before we go?
It'll be whatever hours the library happens to be open on those days. I'm not sure if all libraries have the same hours on those days, but just keep an eye out for us.
No, it's wonderful. I think it's lovely. I think it's a beautiful offering of walking away with an actual printed copy of the Constitution. That's an awesome gift to offer people while educating them, as well as, you know, enrolling people to make sure you get out there and vote. Thank you so much for being here with us, Diane Burrows.
Thank you.
She's co-president board directors at the League of Women Voters for the City of New York. And once again, the League of Women Voters of the City of New York will be handing out a free copy of the U.S. Constitution. And if you're interested in more information, you can visit lwvnyc.org. All right, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a new series honoring one of our own fellow Bronxites. Don't go anywhere.